hat's going to be making a comeback in the US because it featured very prominently in the recent US inauguration of Donald Trump. We are not known for our hats, that's mostly a European royal thing, but well, one in particular made a statement at the recent US inauguration with Melania Trump. Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to Royal Fashion News. And I know many of you are curious. We're not talking about royals here. Yet, when you look at fashion at the recent inauguration of President Donald Trump, I could not help but see the royal influence there with the ladies' ensembles, from the hats to a fascinator to just the general style, very much evoked a sense of royalty. And so I thought it would be fun to look at some of the best and worst fashion moments from the recent inauguration. Now, I know many will say, you're getting political. It's really not. If you just enjoy fashion like I do, it's hard to ignore there were some good looks on Monday. It's just really, really hard to. And there were some not so good looks, and we'll go over those as well. But I've got to say, I was mostly very, very impressed. So we will go into this. But if you guys haven't been to Royal Fashion News, hello, my name is Brittany. And this is for all those who have a passion for royal fashion or just royally inspired fashion. If you think the royal ladies look classy, elegant, timeless, all those sorts of things, this is the channel for you because we have the best and worst dress list, Tiara Thursdays, and a couple other videos where I show you guys some of the royally inspired purchases I made. But let's go ahead and get into this video, which is all about the royally inspired purchases and designs worn by mostly members of Donald Trump's family. And again, guys, if you're reading politics into this, you're thinking too hard about it. This is just about fashion. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so we are going from worst to best. And probably the worst on pretty much everyone's list is Lauren Sanchez, who is engaged to Jeff Bezos. And her, I believe it looks like an Alexander McQueen suit. It looks like actually one very similar to what Catherine has worn, but with a bustier on underneath. Now, wow, this is sort of a common fashion, and I don't particularly mind it. I think most people agree that this is probably not appropriate for this particular event. There are levels of appropriateness that always should be considered when purchasing certain items or wearing certain items, and I believe this would be one of those times. And there was quite a funny moment where Mark Zuckerberg was clearly caught looking down her chest very quickly. So overall, I think she could have done better. Actually, when she was wearing the fluffier coat she had on, it actually looked like a much more classy ensemble. I don't mind the white suit. I think that works for the occasion, but perhaps this was a time to class it up a bit instead of wearing the bustier. Save the bustier for your date and wear something more appropriate to the actual event. Just my thoughts, though. All right, guys, next we have outgoing Vice President Kamala Harris in this zippered suit thing. I don't know who the designer is. The only thing I sort of want to say about it is that it just really felt way too casual for the occasion. Now I get it. She did lose. She's watching the victor take the spoils, you could say, but I still felt like this was a moment for maybe a suit that was a little bit classier, you could say. I will admit, though, that I think she did a great job being sort of muted for the occasion. I have a different criticism of somebody else for not quite doing that. But I do think in this situation, it probably would have been better for her to, I don't know, this looks like very much, I mean, it almost looks like a tracksuit. It just seems so casual the way it is. So yeah, not my favorite for sure. Think she could have done perhaps a little better. All right, guys, next we have Lara Trump. So she is the wife of Eric Trump. And I just do have to give probably pretty much her overall looks for the last couple of days sort of a thumbs down. So we'll start sort of in chronological order because there are more fashion looks here. So we have this, I think this was the day before at the rally. Not really all that much to talk about, not bad, but just okay. And then for the event that night, she had this slinky ensemble on. And I do think it's kind of interesting that most people weren't even sort of interested in her looks. I did think it was really cute that her daughter was playing with her dress. That is cute. But it's just, kind of sort of okay. And then for the inauguration morning, it was just, I do admit here, it was a very muted, but it looks like it almost has sort of feathers on the bottom of this coat. It's sort of textured. It's got the big buttons. It's navy. It's just not really one I would gravitate towards. It just doesn't really do much for me. It doesn't seem particularly stylish. It just sort of seems like it's there. So, next we move on to the evening look. Now, her necklace here is stunning. The necklace is out of this world insane. But I just think that the dress is a little lackluster. I'm glad she seemed to have removed these half sleeve things, which are a little weird. So, not really a favorite of mine. Again, I'm not even sure who designed this because nobody cared enough to look. So, and I didn't look either. And I don't like the little poofy thing on her tush. I think that's a little bit of a strange choice there. And then for the next day, for the church service, she's wearing this checked coat. And it's not bad, but we have ladies who I feel like did a little bit better than this. I feel like this is a little fussy. It's not terrible, but it's not great. She seems to really prefer these shoes because she's worn those shoes the whole weekend. So they must be pretty comfortable. I was trying to see if they were Louboutins, couldn't totally tell. I imagine that's what they are, but we shall see. But those are my thoughts on Laura. Okay, but definitely not the best. All right, guys, next we have a Dr. Jill Biden. And one is sort of hard to gauge because you almost can't say much about it. It's just meh. It's just there. The color, I will say, suits her incredibly. I think it's a very flattering color on her. My only thought is that you're the departing first lady. This might be a time to be a bit more muted because it's sort of a garish color, to be quite honest. It's sort of an attention, I want attention type color. Not trying to read into that too much, but just saying it's a color that very much stands out. And so I don't mind it, but I wonder if her position, it would have been better to do something a little bit more understated. However, her counterpart did something that was very understated. So who am I to say? Except for one very obvious exception. And my other criticism here is the purse. If you guys have been following this channel for a while, you know I don't like it when royal ladies have a purse over their shoulder. For some reason, it really bugs me. I feel like it looks less professional that way. I think a clutch would have been better. It's almost like saying, okay, I'm about to leave. I'm looking for my way out. We're ready to go. And I understand it. She probably is to a certain extent, but I just don't like it. There's a part of me that just really doesn't like it. I would like, if she was walking in with it as a clutch, I think it would have been better. As something over the shoulder, I'm not particularly a fan. But again, overall, the look's not bad. Maybe the color is a bit too standout-ish, but it is also as well a very meh ensemble overall. In terms of that, there's nothing really in the construction that goes wow or anything like that. It's very good. Okay. So that is my assessment on Dr. Jill Biden. All right, guys, next we have Usha Vance. So we have a couple of different looks. When they went to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, she was wearing this lovely white coat, which I think was great. Melania was in black, she was in white. So I like the contrast there. I think that looked really good. Nothing super big to talk about, really. I'd like the inclusion of, looks like burgundy gloves here. And then for the evening, she wore an Oscar de la Renta strapless gown, which I think is absolutely lovely. It is in black and it has 3 embellishment details on it. So very lovely, but understated look because she does have this sort of balance she has to hit here between being obviously the second lady, but you also can't overshadow the first lady. So you have to sort of walk this careful line. And then for the inauguration day itself, she wore this absolutely lovely pink ensemble from Oscar de la Renta. It was made for her. And although I'm not a super big fan of the scarf detail, I think overall the look is very good. I like that she paired the pink with light colored boots, light colored gloves. I think that all meshed really well together. And I love that it was a standout color, but yet also a bit muted. So she stood out, but she also wasn't being too over the top about it. Again, you have to walk such a careful line, especially, and this goes for royal ladies too. When you are further back in the line of succession, you have to make sure you're there and you're appropriate and you're dressed well, but not overdressed. There's all these sort of interesting dynamics when you have a hierarchy in play. And then I did also love her earrings are very sweet here. Her earrings were designed by Deepa Gurnai Loria. beaded flower drop earrings, so I probably mispronounced that. And I have to say, with this close-up shot here, I absolutely love that she has the gray mixed in with her natural darker color. I think that is something we've seen Queen Letizia of Spain do that. So I feel like that's a very natural approach. So I think she looks absolutely lovely here. It looks like the eye makeup is well done as well. When they got to sort of the parade at the end, she did take off the dress. She did take off the coat to reveal this dress underneath. I do have to say the dress is not too exciting, to be quite honest. It's very Oscar. I've seen a very similar dress from Oscar de la Renta, so nothing sticks out about this. I think personally for me, I would have loved it if she had something a little bit more like maybe with sort of a square neckline, something a little bit more creative with the dress. I mean, it's very simple, very appropriate, but maybe just a touch of something that just pizzazzes it up just a smidge. And it could be just a simple thing like a neckline. So that is a great look as well, but not super exciting because I think there are some ladies who did some things a bit better. Now for her Rima Acra dress that she wore to the receptions in the evening, it was a great dress. I'm wondering if it's one that just didn't show up well, because to me it was just like, eh. I feel like it could have been a little bit more. It's sort of dipped into the realm of promy a bit. So I'm just curious if it was one of those ones that didn't photograph or translate via image or video very well, and it's one that really stood out in person. Because for me, looking at the pictures, I just kind of go, it's okay, it's not bad, doesn't stand out to me much, doesn't get me super excited. So I do have to give it a okay rating. But I think the color is lovely. I do like the blue there. I'm just curious what else we could see of it. Now, for the next day at the church service, she was again wearing this white suit thing or white blouse with it looked like white pants. I thought that was a nice ensemble as well. It was hard to get a good look at it because we didn't get a great shot of them coming in. It's always frustrating when that happens. It happens with royal watching as well because you're like, I could just use this one picture and somehow nobody got that picture. It's very frustrating. So anyways, I think overall she did a fantastic job. Some great looks here. But again, like I said, some ladies did it maybe just a smidge better. All right, everyone. Now we are moving on to the now First Lady, Melania Trump. Now I have to say, I've always loved her fashion, even during the first term. Like her, hate Trump, doesn't matter. Melania's fashion is almost always on par, always looks absolutely fabulous. So in a way, I'm very excited because to me, I just love the fashion. It's just talking about fashion, people, just talking about fashion. She rarely disappoints, although I will say, I believe I liked her first inauguration looks better. But let's look at what she had today because there's a part of me that wishes she would have done more. You know, at the same time, the drama of the hat was par excellence. Somehow that hat was just there was something about it. It just added an air of mystery to her. It was like a little overdone, yet at the same time, when she put her head down, when she did different things, it just really, really popped. But let's look at the day before when they went to the tomb of the unknown soldier. And we have Melania here. I believe this is a Prada coat and Louboutin boots. So I have to say, since this weekend, I have been a little bit more obsessed with the idea of Louboutin boots because they look pretty incredible. And definitely Tiffany Trump was wearing the similar heels as well. But Melania looked, I think, very somber and appropriate for the occasion. Not too much to talk about, really, to be quite honest. And so the next day, her inauguration look. So her coat and the pop of white with the blouse or scarf. I wish we would have gotten sort of a full sans coat effect here because I think sans a coat, you could have maybe seen what was underneath and that would have been even more eye-catching because this, like, I like the drama of it. I don't like that you can't see her eyes. That is an issue I've had with other royal ladies too. I don't like it when the hats are too low. But it was sort of interesting, I think, how she sort of captured everybody's imagination with the sole inclusion of a rather plain hat. So go ahead and take a listen to a little bit of the hat designer here talk about how he wasn't even sure if she would wear this.
It's amazing, very polished, very pulled together. I think it reflected the formality of the occasion, and of course I was deeply honored because I didn't really know if she would wear it or not. And I sort of feel like it wasn't really a wow hat, except it was very understated, very elegant, and appropriate. But when she put it on, and I had never seen, her wearing it before, so I really felt like her presence and her sort of inner grace and beauty really kind of brought the whole thing alive, and really became a focal point.
So I think, given the cold and everything, a hat sort of made sense. But I do like how the hat was tipped when she met Queen Elizabeth in 2019. So you could actually see her face better, because I really didn't like that you couldn't see her face. I feel like that sort of made everything a bit more challenging, but she utilized the hat, I think, to great effect. There's great pictures of her leaning down, covering her face a little bit with the hat. And so I felt like it added an air of mystery to her. She was like the International Woman of Mystery. And I just sort of loved that. And everybody sort of went crazy for the hat. Now, people have commented as well that it was sort of awkward when Trump went in to give her a kiss on the cheek. Just being truthful here, this happens with all royal ladies. You will notice that, like, Ascot and stuff, they're all like contorting weirdly to try to greet each other, because it's just really hard, because you got the hats. The hats are tilted, they're big sometimes. And so this is a common occurrence with hats. It looked awkward, but it is awkward with the royal ladies too. So people need to calm down about that a little bit. Overall, though, it was very appropriate. There was a funny moment where Donald Trump sort of made a joke about her flying away with the hat. So go ahead and take a listen to a little bit of this here.
Custom, and the wind is blowing like crazy, and with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away. We almost lost our. She was being elevated.
And he also commented on how her feet are killing her. So go ahead and take a listen to a little bit of this here too.
But she said, darling, I love you so much, but my feet are killing me.
Now, I know some people, again, will hate this kind of thing, but I just do think it's interesting that obviously she is in those heels for a long time. And I always wonder with the royal ladies, how do they do it? We're going to have a video at one point. I know I promised it. It's been challenging because the weather has been so bad where I'm at. So I can't really test it out, but I do want to test out at least once every couple of weeks a pair of royal heels and let you know which ones are the most comfortable. She is wearing Manolo Blahnik pumps, if you are curious. And the coat is by Adam Lips. And it is a navy blue double-breasted coat, and the hat is by Eric Javits. And it is a navy wool boater. Again, I feel so mixed because I love the drama of the hat. I also don't like the hat. Ooh, and I missed this because I didn't find this earlier. She did wear a gorgeous look for the dinner the night before the inauguration. So she wore the Saint Laurent tuxedo cape in black. She had a Dolce & Gabbana shirt on and a Carolina Herrera skirt. So this is very elegant, very classy as well. It seemed like dark and white were sort of her theme for the weekend. She definitely very much stuck to that silhouette. And so I think it looked quite good on her, though. It's definitely something that popped. And so for the gala event, she switched it up here and went with a rather unique dress. I will have to say, I liked, again, her first inauguration look better. So this one wasn't like knock it out of the park, super exciting, but it was a design by Hervé Pierre, who is her stylist. And so he designed her first gown as well, because the first time nobody would design one for her. I feel like that's changed, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a bit ridiculous just because you don't like the particular party that you won't design something for them. I feel like that's just a little bit over the top, because she's obviously, I think, probably a very easy person to design for in some ways because she has a great silhouette. So the design of the gown was sort of interesting because it was meant to mimic a bouquet of flowers, believe it or not. So she accented it, obviously, with the choker and a brooch created by Harry Winston in 1955. It is designed to resemble a ribbon encircling a bouquet of flowers. So it looks like he just kind of did a squiggle on a page and turned that into a gown. Yeah. And I do like how she sort of flipped and went from a dark ensemble with white accents to a white ensemble with dark accents. So it looks like these are black. Obviously, her coat earlier in the day was navy blue. So very interesting sort of dynamic switch there. I didn't like sort of the ribbon coming off, but at the same time too, it's a very classy ensemble and it's very unique. Sometimes I appreciate just something that's sort of out of the box. And I felt like this really fit the bill here. It was very out of the box, very unique, and I feel like captured a lot of imagination. So, for the next day at the church service, she once again wore a dark coat here. Nothing too exciting to talk about. Her coat was Prada and the shoes are Roger Viver. So simple. She did come in also as well with sunglasses. So interesting that she walked in with those. I think it's sort of a bit of her signature, you could say. I really enjoyed seeing Melania. So excited to see her fashion back. Don't read too much into that, people. Excited for the fashion. Yes, people have issues with the administration. I understand that. But from a purely fashion perspective, I think Melania pretty much always hits it out of the park. It was a shame that Vogue never covered her as they cover every other first lady. So it seemed like rather unfair that they didn't cover the most fashionable first lady that we've had in many, many years, because she definitely embodies sort of that elegance, and there's very much a royal inspired look here. And obviously as well, I do feel like because of the cold, things were a bit challenging. So I do think overall she did hit the mark when it comes to being a bit dramatic, a bit eye-catching, but not too much. Again, it's sort of fascinating that she has all this drama and yet it's very understated. It's just very interesting looks. So I'm looking forward though to seeing her other fashion as we go throughout this next term. Again, don't read politics into that. This is just about the fashion. And her unbelievable ability to walk in Louboutin heels in grass. Always admired that. She has a great shoe collection. So looking forward to seeing more of the shoes. Yes, that is shallow. That is shallow. But I'll own it. All right, guys, next we have here second to last in terms of going from worst to best, we have Ivanka Trump. She nailed it in her looks. Really, truly nailed it. And I thought was sort of interesting is that she sort of, I felt like really showed up Meghan Markle without intending to. So let's begin with her look at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. She is wearing here an Oscar de la Renta look with this coat that has flower appliques, very understated. It's tan, not eye-catching all that much, but I feel like it's a very elegant look. I feel like Ivanka is very, very elegant here. Really, really liking it. And as a note, her daughter Arabella is wearing one of her Suzanne London coat dresses. And Suzanne London is a favorite of Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, and Catherine, the Princess of Wales. So again, very royally inspired. And the next look I would have to say is probably my favorite of hers of the couple of days, which is the pre-inauguration gala where she wore this divine Oscar de la Renta dress. It's like the off the shoulders, all the beadwork. I mean, this look is stunning. I wish they would put these looks in a museum. Seriously, they are absolutely incredible. And what I find so fascinating about this is that this was a custom-made gown. It might have been something that Oscar was already going to make or that the house was already going to make. And she sort of was like, hey, I'll use this at the inauguration. But what I want to highlight here real quick is that Meghan Markle has had Oscar de la Renta literally make her the most plain and boring ensembles humanly imaginable. And then you have Ivanka with this just divine off-the-shoulder dress. It's a hint of sexiness, but also very, very classy. It's incredible. It's an incredible dress. I would have loved to have seen this in person. I would go to an exhibition with this dress because I think it's probably absolutely incredible to look at in person. Somebody mentioned it would probably not be very easy to sit down in. I would almost say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's stunning. It's amazing. It's gorgeous. It's just all sorts of awesome. So for the day of the inauguration, she, I think, actually upped her game from the last time. I actually like this look better. And she's wearing a custom Dior ensemble with Tiffany & Co. earrings. We don't have an ID on the shoes. I would imagine they are Dior as well, but I can't totally tell. But I do really like this. The Daily Mail put this on the worst dress list, and I didn't quite understand why. This is a phenomenal look. It's very royal, very regal. Love the fascinator, very similar to one Catherine wore earlier this year. Perhaps she took a bit of inspiration. But I think this look is definitely, I mean, it's lovely and amazing. I love the color. I love the drama of the outfit. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Do Love it. So next we have another sort of stick it to Meghan Markle type of moment because she had Givenchy remake a dress that Audrey Hepburn once wore. This absolutely divine ensemble. It's incredible. The drama is a lot. Now, maybe it might be a smidge over the top, maybe, but she pulls it off really well. Like half the battle sometimes is actually knowing what to dress and how to dress and all these sorts of things. And I think Ivanka really hits those beats here. And I love the diamond necklace. The gloves are a perfect touch. Very classic, very timeless, very elegant. I think she looked absolutely phenomenal. Love, love, love this. Love this. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. And again, Meghan Markle worked with Givenchy. I'd be curious if this was a Sarah Burton design or the house before Sarah Burton took over. If you remember, Sarah Burton designed Catherine's wedding dress and worked for Alexander McQueen as her artistic director, then recently moved over to Givenchy. Meghan Markle had Claire Wright Keller as her designer, and Claire Wright Keller was sort of, it seemed like, forced out of Givenchy shortly after Meghan left the royal family and has sort of struggled to find her footing since. So very, very interesting. But Meghan Markle, again, has amazing fashion houses with amazing archival history, make her the most boring, banal ensembles possible that don't even fit, don't even look great. So I think, again, Ivanka is showing her how it is done. And so next, we will look at her church service, and we have a special look here. Now, some people suspected this might have been Catherine Walker, but the coat dress is actually from Suzanne London, and they shared some behind-the-scenes looks of them putting this coat dress together. It does have a bow detail, very similar to the Catherine Walker, Catherine the Princess of Wales, wore to the Christmas Carol service, and a very similar ensemble she wore to the funeral or part of the funeral events surrounding the death of Her Majesty the Queen. So I feel like very much Ivanka is taking royal cues here, 100% taking a lot of royal cues. So I think all of her looks were incredible and amazing, but there is one very fashionable lady who I believe came out on top. And for the top lady of the inauguration weekend, I am giving it to Tiffany Trump. I loved every single one of her looks. I thought she looked absolutely fabulous and stunning, and she is 6 months pregnant. And in some outfits, you honestly can't tell. You honestly can't tell. The sad thing is we didn't get a ton of details just because you really couldn't see the outfits, or they don't take pictures of her that much, which is just an absolute horrid shame because I thought she stole the show, to be quite honest. I really did think she stole the show this weekend. So let's look at her first look that we have here. And this is at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And she shared this gorgeous coat here. I love the details on it. I think the color is pretty amazing. And I just thought it looked really, really appropriate for the occasion. And I love her boots. The Louboutin boots. I believe those are Louboutin boots. Obsessed, absolutely obsessed with those boots. They are incredible. And so for the evening event, she wore, and this seemed to be a theme throughout the whole weekend, is a Zurhar Murad dress. And so she had actually several custom pieces made from them. And she, for this gala event, had a brown chiffon gown featuring an asymmetrical one-shoulder neckline with cape-like sleeve clinched at the waist, adorned with draped detailing on the bodice while to the inaugural candlelight dinner. I think this dress looks amazing. It is stunning. I love the color. I love the cut, and it really works very, very well with her. So I'm glad she took pictures because she just generally did not show up as well in pictures from the photographers, and I do blame them for that. So when it comes to the inauguration itself, she wore this unbelievable divine blue velvet coat, again by the same designer. She's wearing her Louboutin boots, which I am like seriously envious of. And the color of this is just incredible. It looks great with her skin tone and hair. Absolutely fabulous. I have a love-hate relationship with velvet because I like the look of it. I like the thought of it, but I don't always necessarily like the feel of it. It gives me a bit of the heebie-jeebies. But oh man, there's just something so sleek and sophisticated about this. Oh, I want that coat. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And so for the evening event, she once again wore a custom design and she actually just shared some amazing photos of it on her Twitter and probably Instagram as well. This Zahar Murad dress. And you can actually tell a little bit because she's finally cupping her bump that she is pregnant. But I think there's something so like dreamy about this. I love the off the shoulders. I love sort of the draping. Is she just really paired this really, really well. It looks unbelievably incredible. The beadwork on it, just kind of the interesting design of it. It's something that is both classic and yet a bit elevated at the same time. Obviously works very well for being pregnant. And honestly, like in this blue velvet coat dress, guys, you cannot even tell that she's pregnant. You can't even tell that she's pregnant. Donald Trump kept saying that, but it was actually hard to tell. And so for the next day for the church service, I'm actually not sure if she's wearing the same designer again, but oh my gosh, she has this gorgeous like burgundy coat dress outfit with the Louboutin boots again. Oh, elbow length leather gloves. They are to die for. Like this is amazing. I have always loved her wedding. I mean, I've loved Ivanka's as well. I just think they are both incredibly stylish sisters in their own individual and unique ways. But for me, when it comes to who was the best dressed, I think Tiffany Trump deserves a lot of praise, and she's probably not going to get it, but she definitely deserves this. And she is my pick for the best dressed at the recent inauguration of Donald Trump. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little exploration of the fashion. I am so, so excited. I do have to say, yet again, I was always a fan of Melania Trump's fashion. I think she looks great. So I'm excited to see her back and see what she wears because she's definitely, I think, a fashion inspiration that has that timeless elegance, maybe a bit of edge to it. I always think she looks overall very, very classy. So, guys, obviously, people have their own interpretations, but please just think of the fashion and now, which is always excellent. And are you guys inspired to wear maybe more hats? I like this idea of let's not go out in our sweatpants. I'm saying that as I'm sitting here in my office wearing sweatpants. And let's try to elevate our looks because I think we can all use a little bit more American glam. Let's not leave it all to the Europeans. We can be glamorous as well. So, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts, and I shall speak to you again very soon. Bye.